Alright, so we are on the draw here. Our opponent kept 7. We have a hand with 2 Core Spirit Dancers, no hexproof creature. So it's a bit of a gamble. I am going to keep it, even though we don't have a 1-drop hexproof creature. So could be a mistake depending on matchup, but looks like we're actually up against Amulet here. So Amulet isn't a great matchup for Bogles by any means, but certainly it's winnable. The Spirit Dancers are pretty good in this matchup because there's not much removal coming out of the Amulet deck, but it looks like there's a Gruul Turf. So our opponent does have the Bounce Land start. So this could mean an early Primeval Titan, which is clearly what we do not want to see. Our opponent doesn't have the Amulet yet, but even so, the Titan could come quickly. If we're able to draw maybe another 1 mana, or like something like a Rancor or a Griffspoon is what we're looking for, optimally, to be able to give our Core Spirit Dancer a form of evasion. But there's an Explosives for 2, so that's gonna effectively shut down our Core Spirit Dancer plan. And normally the Explosives is a 1-of in this deck, and our opponent happens to have that exact card that they needed in this particular spot, which is unfortunate. Now we can actually still win through a Primeval Titan. We draw something like a Daybreak Coronet. We can actually just make our Core Spirit Dancer a really large life-linking threat. So I think I'm just going to play out the Temple Garden here. And go to work, or try to go to work once again with this Core Spirit Dancer. So we really want to be drawing more auras to be able to make it just as large as possible. The Coronet is the best one to draw, but also... Alright, here's a Vesuva coming in. That's interesting. I'm wondering why our opponent chose that particular moment for the Vesuva. But in any case, just gonna pass back, and it looks like this is gonna be the Primeval Titan. So Titan comes down. And so our opponent is not going to be able to attack us with the Titan this turn, I don't think. I mean, they can do some things with the Sakura Tribe Scout. But yeah, it looks like they're going for a more conservative approach. So the Titan's not going to be able to get in, so we're really hoping to draw. We have multiple draws here as we get to play this Ethereal Armor. Alright. We did not want to draw a land there. I'm going to thin the deck out a little bit before playing this Ethereal Armor. We really need something on this particular draw step. Alright, it's a Keen Sense. So that provides some redraws essentially, and it's going to help grow our core Spirit Dancer. So if we find that Daybreak Coronet, it's going to be quite nice here. Unfortunately, we did not get there. So now the question is if we actually attack with the core Spirit Dancer or not. Normally, you don't run into this problem of running out of auras, but it can happen. Our opponent has a plant to just be able to jump in the way of the Spirit Dancer, so the attack does not seem very profitable. So I think we just have to pass. So our opponent now can attack with the Primeval Titan, but not necessarily attack through the core Spirit Dancer. They have the Sunhome Fortress land, but that would, of course, come into play tapped potentially. It looks like, all right, I'm wondering what this is going to be. It's another Primeval Titan. Of course, the Sakura Tribe Scouts changed the math a little bit, but we can still untap and just like chain a bunch of auras together and just like win that way. All right, so this is kind of a cool play. Our opponent could bounce the Slayer's Stronghold and then replay it with the Sakura Tribe Scout. Not sure if that's good enough, but it looks like our opponent's setting up for a big turn next turn, I believe. I don't think that the plan here is to get in this turn. Alright, so we are going to get the turn passed back. And now, once again, we have a big draw step. Alright, so we're just going to pop the Horizon Canopy. And, yeah, just pretty unlucky, honestly. We are not a deck that plays a ton of lands. We've drawn a lot of them this game. And the Leyline of Sanctity is also pretty much a dead card in this matchup, so we'll be boarding that one out. And so now we have to try to figure out how to deal with this attack. So our opponent can make one of these Primeval Titans an 8 power double strike, which would put us to 1. So I think we just put the core Spirit Dancer in front of a Primeval Titan. Not sure there's another option, actually. So let's go for that. So our opponent can activate the Slayer's Stronghold. I'm not yeah, and the Sunhome. I wonder if they wanted to attack with the Sakura Tribe Scouts here, actually, or not. I played this exact matchup at the Grand Prix in Hartford, and I was able to win 2-0 from the Bogles side. I mean, you can see it's not as lopsided as you might think. We're able to eat the Primeval Titan, so once again, we're able to untap, and if we find, you know, a Daybreak Coronet, would be really nice. Let's see what our opponent opts to get off of this. Oh, it's a Walking Ballista. Never mind. That makes all the sense in the world. So that is actually lethal. Alright. So, let's see what we can do here for game 2. So I like bringing in some Gladecover just because of engineered explosives. Not a huge fan of Path to Exile. I don't think our plan is to really get rid of the Primeval Titans. We definitely don't want ley lines. Unravel is pretty good just because it can deal with the Amulet. So this is a matchup where I'm fine with boarding out Dryad Arbor when we're bringing in more creatures. Seal of Primordium, yeah, we probably want that. Both Spirit Mantle and Spirit Link are relatively weak in the matchup. I'm going to go with this for game 2. Alright, no creature here, so pretty easy mulligan. And this hand, alright, we're having weird draws without many auras. There's one on top that we pretty much have to keep. So we get to start on a hexproof creature, and once again try to work some magic with the Core Spirit Dancer. And okay, so I'm fine with offering the trade here with the Gladecover Scout. Unlikely our opponent wants to accept it. But okay. I take that back. Our opponent, of course they wanted to accept that trade. Why wouldn't they want to accept that trade? Alright, so they may have a Dismember here out of the sideboard for this Core Spirit Dancer. Yep, okay, but we have a second one, so not the end of the world. But it made sense that they had it. So time to run out the second one, I think. Could play the Gladecover, but this is the higher upside play. And explosives for 2 is not something we're worried about yet. Because our opponent probably is not going to play out explosives for 2 without... Oh, here's a Summoner's Pact. So this is going to get a Souza and allow our opponent to start getting more lands into play. Although they are going to need to pay for the Summoner's Pact on the following turn. So let's see what lands they've got. Alright, makes sense. So another Simic Growth Chamber. Once again, we would dread a Dismember in this situation. So hopefully that is not what our opponent has. Okay, unravel the Aether. So yeah, we're just gonna assume that our opponent does not have a Dismember. I'm gonna lead on Rancor. Alright, so that looks to be in there. That's good news. And now Spider Umbra is going to make our Spirit Dancer into, once again, a pretty sizable creature. 7 power. This time it has Trample. We've drawn even more cards that we actually did not want. Another Boggle and another Gladecover. If we had, once again, a Daybreak Coronet would be really great. As is, our opponent's kind of hanging on for dear life at this point. So I like playing, assuming we don't draw anything that can actually just win us the game, which I believe the Coronet does win us the game. We can play the Coronet, And now our Spirit Dancer is a 12/12, so our opponent can only block 3 damage. And okay. So we were able to force game 3. And that sideboard plan is generally what I like to go to. We can, on the draw, move a little bit more towards Path to Exile as a way to just kind of trip up our opponent's aggressive starts a little bit. So I'm going to take out a Spirit Link and a Spirit Mantle for 2 Path to Exiles, because our opponent's draws can be pretty explosive. Alright, so yep, gonna keep this one. It's reliant heavily on our one creature, the Gladecover. But okay, well now we actually drew a Boggle, which was definitely something that could happen and we wanted to have happen. That doesn't mean we won't play the Gladecover. So this is a turn where we definitely have a decision of what to do. If we play Rancor Ethereal Armor, it opens us up to explosives. If we just run out the Gladecover, then we don't have as fast a clock. Our opponent might have a Dismember for it. I think it's close, but I'm going to run out the Teague. If it gets hit by Dismember, then our opponent at least is losing 4 life in the exchange. And we can still play out our enchantments on the following turn, which, considering our opponent doesn't yet have a Sakura Tribe Scout or an Azusa, could be fast enough. Although there is Azusa, Speak of the Devil. So now our opponent's prepped for a potential Titan next turn. Okay, Path to Exile is pretty good in terms of draws. So we have a decision which creature we want to load up on. I think we want to go with the Gladecover Scout because of the potential of that Dismember. And then because our opponent doesn't have the Amulet yet, we can path Titan next turn. So our opponent's just taking this hit. It's a pretty sizable hit. And now, okay, yeah, Summoner's Pact is going to get Primeval Titan. Primeval Titan can get 2 more lands. I don't think our opponent is going to be able to get to haste the Titan, even with the 2 additional land drops. If they aren't able to, they could get something like a Radiant Fountain. There's a number of cards that would help our opponent kind of be a little safer. Right now, we're in a spot where if we draw another Aura, and then we also have the path which we already have, we might be able to simply get through for lethal. So I'm sure these are all things that are running through our opponent's head right now with this primetime trigger. Few different options for sure. So Radiant Fountain is going to allow our opponent to gain 2 life, and the Colony Garden creates a plant. That makes sense. It's kind of the best our opponent can hedge in this spot. There's a Griff Spoon. Okay, so we can Griff Spoon the Gladecover Scout. That's still only 10 damage, though. However, I also don't see a better option. So I am gonna Griff Spoon here. And simply get in for 10. I guess another option would have been Griff Spooning the Gaddock. That may have been better, because it would have forced some blocks on the Gladecover Scout. But I like just passing the turn now, with Pact to Exile available to us. Definitely an interesting spot. So yeah, if we play the Griff Spoon on, well, I don't think it's gonna matter, but we'll see. So I'm gonna Path to Exile the Titan before our opponent's able to attack with it. Hopefully that is just game over. So our opponent's just passing back, it looks like. Oh no, it's a Reclamation Sage. Okay. Well, that's not going to be good enough, though. We still have a flying Gladecover Scout. So that should be enough to just end the game, and it is.